Yeah, I'm Jim Leslie. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Flipgrid. How many of you have heard of Flipgrid? Know anything about it? All right, awesome, good. So this will be a reintroduction for you, for those of you who are already familiar with us, and a new introduction for the rest. So I'm really excited about Flipgrid. I'm going to share with you why I'm excited about it, but while I think what we're doing is really cool, I think it's also really, really important work. And the reason for that, you all have heard the saying that zip code is the strongest determinant of success in school. Like where you grew up will determine whether or not you do well in high school and in college. Interestingly, social and emotional learning skills are actually 2x the determinant of academic performance, of geography or demographic. And yet 70% of students don't feel like they're getting any assistance in social and emotional learning, and they recognize, and employers recognize, that 40% of future jobs are going to require explicit skills around social and emotional learning. So what we're going to show you today is how it is that we're actually impacting that. I'm not at all theorizing that we're the only way to do it, but I know that we're a really impactful way to achieve social and emotional learning skills. So our mission is really simple. Our mission is our educators' mission, and that is to help learners of all ages to find their voice, share their voice, listen to and respect and appreciate the diverse voices of others. So how do we do it? To quote Amy Storer, we do it by being simple, authentic, and yeah, fun. We put actually a lot of our energy into making a platform that is really fun. So how does it work? It works by first having an educator create a grid. And a grid is simply a community. That is an educator and her students. It is a PLC or a PLN. It is a district. It could be a school system introducing educators for the new year. It can be any kind of community where the people have some common reason for being there. And within that grid, the educator posts topics or questions in the forms of video, text, attachments, links, any sort of catalyst to raise a topic or a question for students to discuss. And then the students record short-form video. Our average video length is 42 seconds. They record short-form video on iOS, Android, or web devices to share their perspective. And then once they do that, this creates a whole community around asynchronous video chat where every student in the class is exposed to every other student's perspective. And that topic or question was not an assessment. It wasn't designed to say, prove to me you know the answer to this. It was, what do you think of X? And it's helping students identify, frame, understand, and communicate their own perspective, have the confidence to share it with others in their classrooms, and then listen to the diverse opinions of others and learn how to digest and debate those. So let's get into some of the fun of this. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of how Flipgrid is used in the classroom. Jessica Hubick is a chemistry teacher in Howard School in Tennessee. She was trying to figure out how to get her kids excited about electrical circuitry, because that may be surprising to you all, that wasn't coming natural to them. So she tweeted, help. And somebody said, why don't you put it on Flipgrid? So she asked her kids to rap about circuitry, and here's what she got. 30 videos just like this.
Open circuit, in school, got the open switch, the battery too. I know. Can't forget about the light, little dude. Hey, we learning this circuit in school. Hey.
All right, I gotta tell you, that's one of my favorite Flipgrid videos ever. So what's really cool is you got 3 kids who all collaborated together to come up with a rap, and by the way, the circuit is correct. So not only is the rap good, it's accurate. And what she did is she got all of these students really jazzed about how they could communicate what they were learning with each other. So that's like student to student inside of the classroom is really cool. But then we saw it started to expanding beyond the classroom itself. And last year, well, in the beginning of the 2016 school year, we saw a number of districts using Flipgrid to introduce educators to families. And then that turned into last year, over 1,000 schools inviting families in, oftentimes in these Flipgrid pods, these green Amazon little tents, for parents and students to share their story with each other and with the others in the class. So here's one example.
He's so strong and amazing. He always takes care of my family, and he's just too special to me. And he's my favorite dad in the world.
My son is too special. Es el mejor hijo del mundo. Lo amo con todo mi corazón. Siempre Me dice que me ama. I love it.
I love you too, Baba.
Love you, nene.
So Dad isn't too cool for school here. He's wearing sunglasses because he's literally crying behind that. And so if you saw the rest of the video, and by the way, we see these only because they're tweeted or sent back to us, so we're not scanning content here. But what was really clear is that was a dad who was so moved by listening to his son talk about him in front of his class that it really brought him to tears. So, and then what we saw is Flipgrid starting to extend beyond just classroom or classroom community, but classroom to classroom activity. And it's a sad story, but in this case, it's Jacob Thompson was diagnosed with terminal illness, terminal cancer. And what he wanted as his last wish was to get as many Christmas cards as possible. And so his teacher sent out a request for cards and also Flipgrid. And he received thousands of videos from students all over the world, none of whom he had met before, but whose videos were actually sharing their personality along the way. So I'm going to go fast because I got 58 seconds left, so now we're going to rock. So what became really clear is that Flipgrid started off as a way to get student discussion, primarily in world languages. We have a partner in EMC Publishing who has built Flipgrid into their digital learning platform, as well as a whole variety of other use cases that have gone everywhere from pre-K to PhD. We're now used in over 5,000 organizations across the globe. So let me give you some quick statistics on the company. We have over 400,000 educators using Flipgrid. We've got 28,000 schools and districts, or schools and universities, over 20 million students, and those students have shared over 9.6 billion videos of 9.6 billion seconds of video. We have 9.4 videos being shared every second on the platform. So not only have we had a bunch of new users joining and growing at about 1,200% per year, or since the beginning of the year, but our engagement is growing at the same rate. Because what we care about is not just that people sign up, we care that they use it. And so we're today seeing 476 days of video being shared every day on Flipgrid, and over 304 years since our founding, a video has been shared. The way we operate is we listen for echoes, and that's all about simplicity over complexity. So the kinds of things that we build are global connections to allow educators to connect to each other. We allow streams of consciousness among all of the students by introducing ideas, which allows unscaffolded student feedback if that's what the educator wants. We created the Discovery Library, which is basically crowdsourcing topics for use in other classrooms. So if an educator finds a really effective way of asking a 5th grade student about European history, she can then lift that up to the library and let anybody else use that topic in their classroom as well. Obviously not including the student videos, since that's private to that classroom. And there is a lot that we do around assessment when that's the use case. But again, mostly Flipgrid is all about discussion at the classroom level, not about evaluating student performance. Our most recent announcement is something that is absolutely taking off. It's called Co-Pilots. It allows one teacher to share the administration of their grid with another. We have grids with actually 100 pilots running that across the globe. We had one started on World Climate that started in Australia and is now used across the globe with, as I say, 100 different pilots. That has started a new trend called Grid Pals. One of our educators said, hey, we ought to figure out a way to get teachers connected to each other. That's with Grid Pals. This started 3 weeks ago. We have 1,750 educators sharing their classrooms with each other. So a student in one classroom in one part of the world is connected to another classroom in another part of the world, and they are sharing stories with each other. All right, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate your attention.